right, it's good. It's good. Pull up the YouTube, make sure everything flowing. Yep. Make sure it's flowing. All right. Good money, good money. All right. All right. Making sure I can see the live chat. If we do get anybody that pops in here, I know it was last minute and all, y'all. So my apologies. Furious Styles is gonna be my test guy for us going live and doing things this way for the
Yes, sir.
foreseeable future. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to him.
I appreciate that.
No doubt, man. No doubt, no doubt. All right, man. You ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I go by Cash, aka Exec P. And if you're looking down there on the screen, if you're watching out there in YouTube land, Facebook, Twitter, that's my man Furious Styles. He's been on the show at least once before, maybe more, avid supporter of the podcast. This is episode 193. This year, what I wanted to do a little bit of is just really just talk about, get into the production a little bit more outside of actually having the rappers on. I want to get to talk to some of the producers to kind of go through their process and give them a little bit more shine. And then that gives us a little bit
Yeah,
more shows and different variety to let you guys tell your stories, man. So I'll jump right into it, Furious, man. Let the people know where you from, kind of just some of your history so far with this music thing, and we'll kind of start from there.
for sure, man. My name is Furious Styles. I'm from East Chicago, Indiana. Grew up in Gary, Indiana every other weekend, man. Shout out to the crib, the region. Been living in Memphis, Tennessee since 2015. I love 901. It's like my second home, man. Been making beats and producing since I was like 15. I used to start off with the Boss DR5 in East Chicago. We had a lot of local groups that was real big, like the Grind Family and things, and 50/50 Records, East Chicago and Gary, Indiana had theirs. But, in our high school and stuff like that, everybody had their own little cliques. And on North Side East Chicago, man, I was doing my thing, man. And when COVID hit, I got back into it.
For sure. So, if people don't know, man, what's a little bit of like some of the people you've been working with the last couple years since you kind of got back heavy into the production?
Oh well, my boy Numbs from New Jersey, man. Me and him have a lot of work together. Of course, Cash. We have songs out. We got an EP out. He was just on my EP that came out at the beginning of this month. Shout out to him. He jumped it off with Set the Tone. Incredible
Appreciate that.
song.
Appreciate
Thank
that,
him
man.
for that. What I'm saying? I got a song with I Am God from Chicago. I've worked with guys from the West Coast, the South, every coast you could think of, man. I just, I got more of a traditional boom bap sound, which isn't common from where I'm from, so it kind of throws people off, it trips people out. So I kind of get the East Coast MCs first, but then I can kind of branch off and make like the Midwest sound and things like that too.
Okay. What got you back into production? I know you've always been into production, as you said earlier in your intro, but what got you back into it and wanting to kind of come back full force and promoting your stuff and really getting back out there?
Well, just like everybody else during the pandemic, I'm a commercial driver. Lost one of my jobs, man, and I had more time on my hands. And I'm like, it's always been in me. It's kind of like riding a bike. You never forget. And I was like, man, I'm gonna buy me another beat machine. And I bought me one. It was like a Kai something else, XR20, I believe. And I'm so good at a drum machine, I mastered that thing in like a month and a half, 2 months. I was like, dude, I'm more advanced than this. So I was like, I need me a MPC. So I started looking up different ones. I was like, I don't want to have to use one where I got to use a laptop or a computer. So I looked up standalone. I did all my research and I found one, bought it, and my birthday is July 20th. Because of COVID and a lot of trucks and stuff was behind because of the weather and COVID and things like that, or whatever the case may be. Um, It arrived July 21st, and I was sitting there every day making beats and trying to figure out how to master it. And then once I figured out how to use that, I had to figure out how to like navigate because I wasn't used to promote myself on social media. It was all new to me. Even though I've been on social media, I've never advertised anything like that. So I had to figure out. I've tried the different beat sites. I tried all my social medias, and I've had a Twitter since I was like in college, but it was like inactive for like 10, 12 years, something like that. And it was my last choice. I was like,
Yeah.
let me see if Twitter still works. I went to Twitter, man, and it was like a rapper, producer, Oasis. It was like, oh my God, like this should have been the first thing I went to. And it just changed my producer life.
What were some of the I'll probably say not downtime, but what was some of the learning curve with getting back into it with, the last between the last beat machine you had all the way up until now, with the MPC? What was like the learning curve like?
Oh, because I was always from high school, and when I first got back into it in 2020, it was just they're strictly drum machines. So it's just it's kind of like it's almost like a producers that work with a keyboard. Everything is just you making it yourself. You making all the tones and melodies yourself. I had to learn how to sample. I knew it because I was listening to it, so I knew what to do it. I had to figure out the machine. You can do the same thing with the MPC one. You could do just drum patterns and things like that. But I'm very into sampling, so I had to figure out, I had to learn how to chop and things like that, chop and maneuver things and manipulate songs that were already hits or songs you never heard of and make them sound like my own. So once I figured that out, it was over.
What would you tell any like aspiring producer that's trying to get back into it right now in 2023? What would you have them start with an MPC, or what would you start them with in terms of software,
It
hardware, anything?
it depends on like what you like. I grew up listening to that. Like I said, coming from where I'm from, most guys didn't listen to the type of music that I listen to because my older cousin, I don't know how he got tapped into it. He was already tapped into like the soul samples and the boom bap, being from Gary, Indiana, which I don't know how. So when like guys from where I'm from, when we were listening to like shout out to like listening to Twister and 8 Ball MJG and listening to Trick Daddy or whoever else, or Master P was real big, of course, and things like that. I'm going to Gary. I'm listening to Wu Tang. I'm listening to Busta Rhymes, Helter Skelter, listening to Jeru the Damager. So I'm listening to stuff that they never even heard of. Mob Deep. They're like, who is that? So I'm in East Chicago hearing that side of music, and then local legends, of course. And then I'm going to Gary, and I'm hearing soul samples. I'm hearing boom bap. I'm hearing LL Cool J and cannabis and things like that. So I'm absorbing all of that. So it's like whatever you pretty much like absorb and you listen to, man, I feel like you should go that route. Like if you're not into the soul samples, yeah, get you more of a something where you could do like just the drum machines. But if you're into the samples, yeah, you're gonna have to get you either a machine, a native instruments, or get you that Akai, man.
So you just riddled off, a bunch of different artists that you listened to growing up and stuff like that. But I didn't hear the
Hmm.
producers, man, and that's why we here. What's some of the producers that kind of
Oh,
have
for
inspired
sure.
you along the way? Like I know some of your people, man. I know you mentioned RZA before, and just some of the
Mhm.
random. I won't say random artists, but just some of the deep cuts that you post every now and then on Twitter in terms of what you
Yeah.
listening to be like some of the hardest beats from some of them albums that we like a Busta Rhymes and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So who are
Yeah.
some of your influences kind of coming up?
DJ Scratch, Alchemist, Havoc. Of course, like you said, RZA. Who else can I say? Hmm. Um, what you call? I'm drawing a blank. From EPMD, Eric Sermon. Man, Large Professor, Laura Finesse. I could just keep going, man. Like dude, those guys, man, they molded the stuff, everything that I do now. I just absorb it, man. Like I just take it in, dude. It's like they're incredible to me. I listen to it and I just shake my head to this day still. You know what I'm saying? Even from the Swiss Beats to when the Rough Riders had their run. Just like that, even though people thought like those sounds were weird because he had more of like an electronic type sound. But I'm like, it fit that group of guys, like DMX and all that, like Swiss Beats had that sound. You know what I'm saying? So like I absorbed all that, man. Like from, with the Knots and then, I Rockwater, Just Blaze, everybody.
So 2021, was it 2020 or 2021 when you first put out a project with actual, with rappers being on it?
2021.
2021. So that was Noise in the Hood, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
volume one. So for
Yeah.
people that's looking to get into it, and I'm always trying to like kind of give people that little bit of inspiration. Like what was some of the things you wish you could have told yourself in 2021 as you was preparing to release your first project?
Oh, well, when I was preparing to release Noise in the Hood, I actually didn't even have a distro kit. I didn't have anything. I didn't know anything about streaming services, anything. Like I was still working on Num's fall album when I started working on my compilation. But I went to school for marketing and I knew how to market myself. Cause I've even when I started making beats in college, I had a video camera, so I was doing DVDs. Like I was like filming people's events and then I was burning them at home, flipping them. So I was always into the media. Even when I wasn't making beats, I was still hustling. I was making DVDs. Dudes that had TVs in their cars, I was burning uh, videos from like 106 in Park. I would sell those. You know what I'm saying? So I was always hustling in the media some type of way. So I was like, I had what I wish I'd have known then, like I wish I know now. Like I had like the basic DistroKid account where basically it's only linked to me. You only can link one person. Now I have an upgraded account where I can link multiple artists so that when it starts accumulating streams, it'll pop up on my page, it'll pop up on Cash page, it'll pop on this person's page. So we're all so even if I go to your page, it's still going to link to everybody, and I still get streams, and everybody gets a piece of it. So it's things you learn as you go. I didn't know anything about that. You know what I'm saying? So you figure out ways to get yourself seen even more.
Okay. All right. So with putting it together with so many different artists on that project,
Mhm.
I lost count. How was that planning process and getting everybody's music back and the verses and
Oh,
your direct? Did you give them any direction as you were kind of getting it back if it wasn't
well,
necessarily to your satisfaction?
well, with Noise in the Hood, I mean, to keep it real, there was no Furious Styles. Like nobody knew who I was. Half the people on there didn't know who I was. Like you blessed me with being on my first compilation. That be, I reached out to you as far as something else with it, and you was like, "Oh, I rap too." I was like, "Oh, snap!" So I found me another rapper. But I half of it was from people from back home. I got like two or three people from East Chicago and Gary, Indiana. I got people from New Jersey, and I met some of the rappers through other rappers. I stumbled upon you by mistake. I was just like scrambling, just trying to put something together because I knew, like when Numb's album had dropped 2 months before, and of course I didn't have a face. People, Numbs was getting interviews. They was like, "Man, the production on this is this and that, and it's great." He was getting interviews. He would mention my name. Nobody knew who I was, so I was like, I need to take advantage of this. So right after that, and then that's why I put like Furious Styles Presents. I made it seem like I was the stuff, even though nobody knew who I was. So they was like, "Oh, this dude that made Numb's album," and I was like, Furious Styles Presents, and I had 12 tracks. I had like 11 or 12 MCs from all over the map. And I just made it seem like it was the stuff because I grew up listening to compilations, so I kind of knew how to structure it. So I had people from the Midwest, the South, the East Coast, and the West Coast, and everything, and it worked out.
Yeah, you mentioned Numbs a few times, man. For people that don't know you guys' relationship and kind of how it's blossomed in terms of EPs, full projects at this point,
Mm-hmm.
tell the people a little bit about that don't know you. The folks are our Twitter fam and stuff like that who they follow you, but they don't hear a whole lot from you as the producer because you kind of stay behind the scenes for the most part. You're out there, but you don't do a whole lot of
Yeah,
interviews, but you just now starting to do them, man.
yeah.
What's about you guys' relationship that kind of makes it special, working relationship?
Well, because like I said, I was trying to navigate with social media. I didn't know anything about how to reach out to people, and I've tried every avenue at that point. When I first came back, like with the pandemic, the trap beats were dominant and prominent. Like if you weren't making 808s and you weren't doing tight beats and the Lil Yachty beats or whoever, Migos or Future, or you wasn't winning. But I just stuck with the boom bap sound, and I went to all the different places and I couldn't find anybody. I went to Twitter. I started just navigating. I started finding MCs who actually like used the sound that I made, And sometimes like you can't be too cocky and too much of an ego. I mean, I keep it real. I
Yeah.
went to his DMs. I'm like, look, man. I was
For
like, look,
sure.
man, hey, look, hey, I was like, hey, you don't know me. I don't have nothing going on. I told you, I didn't have a streaming service or anything. I was like, man, I make beats. Check them out. At this point, I probably had like 300 beat videos because I was making beat videos every day since I got my beat machine. More I don't need to, but that was like how I was getting my name out there. So I was like, man, you can go through my page and you can see there's a Teddy Pendergrass sample. It's supposed to be one song. He let people hear it, and it was like, dude, this dude is nice, and it works well with you. And went from one song to a complete album, and it just grew from there.
So, kind of moving forward, man. I wanted to ask you about kind of you kind of giving back to artists. Kind of fast forward now into 2023 with
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you all last year you dropped the Basement series with multiple different artists. Right now, your
Mm-hmm.
latest EP, Beats and Rhymes, R&B side A is out right now. You're coming out with side B here in the
Yes.
next week, man.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you give back to people that don't necessarily have the name in terms of the followers and all that kind of thing that the record labels do, that type of stuff that they do where they track
Mm-hmm.
if you have a huge following, then they want to rock with you. What makes you
Right.
seek out talent like back in the old days?
Well, for one, because at one point I was the person that didn't have a name. No, you know what I'm saying? Nums had a platform. He was having interviews before I even met him. So I was that person 2, 3 years ago when nobody knew who I was. And the thing is, like, I feel like as a producer, if you feel like if you're as good as you say you are and things like that, you shouldn't always have to go for the guy that already has the status or the female MC that already has the status, already has the name. If you're a producer, you should be able to produce somebody. It doesn't always have to be the person that has 3,000 followers. It could be I want to see the person that got 30 followers too. Because if you have talent, you have talent. It doesn't matter how many followers you got. I know that's the thing now. I don't care about that. If you have the skill, if I feel like my sound can match with what you do, oh yeah, you got 6 followers. That's cool. You finna have 12 now. You finna have 30. Because we gonna it's gonna increase some type of weight because I'm gonna make sure that I do my part to get you even more notice as much as I can.
Okay. Before we even go any further, man, make sure if y'all on YouTube land, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share this page. If you're on Twitter, make sure you retweet. Throw some questions out there if you like. Just make sure you kind of get this out there. And if you are indie artist and your music is dope, definitely shoot me a DM at Don't Sleep Net on Twitter, at Don't Sleep Net on Instagram, Don't Sleep Network on YouTube. Go look on there. You can send me a message through there as well. Go in the comments of this video. Drop your links. But if it's good, I'll reach back out to you. If not, you get, go in the queue and then we kind of go from there. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it rolls. If I like it, I put you on. If I think it's interesting, I put you on the show. That's kind of how you can get on there. As for you, Furious, how can they get in contact with you if they're listening to any of your projects, Noise in the Hood, Rhymes and Beats, any of the Basement series? Like, how could they get in
Mm-hmm.
contact with you?
Well, on Twitter and Facebook is Furious underscore Styles with a Z, with the number 6 at the end. It's for Twitter and Instagram is that. And then if you go there, I have a link in my bio that has all my music and all my social medias and things like that, man. I'm not on BeatStars or anything like that. I'm more of like straight to consumer, but I am going to start like a link where you can see more of my beats. A lot of times people be like, "Do you have beats I can listen to?" So I'm gonna have a link with just maybe like 30 to 60-second beats, maybe 5 to 10 beats. I'm gonna have where you can get an example of what I do, so that I don't want to be holding you up or something like that. Or if I can't get right back to it, you can click that link and you can get an idea of what I do.
Okay, so let's get into kind of more of the more current project. Rhymes and Beats, Side A, like I said, is out right now with myself,
Mm-hmm.
Nums, Echo. Dang, I forget number four on there. Last joint.
Quentin Gilmore and Akil Ali is on there as well.
Akil Ali. Yep. All dope songs, man. So with this year
There
kind of starting off, man, and side B, what's your vision for this particular go around with the short EPs?
Oh, because like I said, I have the upgraded account. With the upgraded account, like I have no reason to falsify anything. I'm able to link up to 5 MCs. Now there's more you can do when you upgrade even more to 10 MCs and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I can link up to 5 MCs. So I feel like I don't want to do like 10 tracks and thing like that right now, because I don't want to just be able just to link 5 out of the 10. So now that being the fact that I can link up to 5 people as of right now, I'm just gonna do like little short EPs so that I can link every MC if they have their right district, distro kids or United Masters, whatever the case may be, so that when I put that stuff, so when the song start accumulating streams, it'll pop up on their page. So that's the reason why I'm doing that, so that everybody gets the song linked to them or the album.
Okay. So with rhymes and beats, of course, is more rap focused. Is there like any R&B out there as far as that
Now
you want to get into? Anything
it's
else you wanna explore? Because I know you be sampling. I can't say it though. All right, it's that that we
uh,
watch. I'm not gonna say the particular movie, but in terms of the things that you sample, like you get
no, yeah, you know what?
creative from anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, I don't do R&B too often, but I have dabbled in it once or twice. I can do it. I don't do it a lot. If I'm sure the more I do it, I'll probably be even better at it. But yeah, man, I've done that. I've sampled rock groups and everything. Yeah, the R&B thing is kind of just like it's kind of like a little play on words, or whatever. Because I'm just thinking, like, I'm always thinking of something new. I'm like, man, I need to come up with something catchy. And like you R&B, and like, oh, he made an R&B album. Nope, it's rhymes and beats. You know what I'm saying? So it caught your attention. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm always thinking of something that's witty. I've always kind of been like that. So it's just something just to throw you off, and it worked.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about side B, man. That's coming up here on the 6th next
Yeah.
Monday. Who do we have coming
Mhm.
up on that project? Where they from? You know what I mean?
Side B, I kept side B straight up like a side B, man. It's like I was saying, side A is kind of more of like the more of the people who already had a platform, people I've worked with in the past and things like that. This one is like pretty much everybody is new almost with me. I'm working with. They're just up and coming. Some people this is like their first time getting on the EP. So track one is Peacemaker. We have one song already out that came out last year. He's from the West Coast, from the Bay. I have my boy Jaherd. He's from Philly on there. He's still coming.
Yeah.
He's real big
He's
on
nice. He's
SoundCloud.
nice. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's my dude, man. I got Asani Hart from Gary, Indiana. That's the crib. So of course,
Hometown. Okay. So
I got that.
hometown cooking.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Then of course, and then I made a post on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and this female MC responded, and I had no idea. I was just like, I was just saying, if you drop a song, and if it doesn't get the reaction that you want, I was saying, don't make no excuses. Don't try to explain yourself. I was like, you know what you did or didn't do, and just go on from there. And she responded, was like, I needed that, and I was like, okay. So I went to her page, and I just did my research, and I just like, you know what, man, I got an EP that's out, and I'm this side A, I'm working on side B. You want to get on there? I didn't count how many followers she had. I didn't count how many songs she had. She's from New York. Her name is Anya LaBella, and she's on there. She's on the promo video. That's her track, and yeah, man, she killed it.
Okay. All right. So what can you talk about coming up this year? Because I know you ain't just stopping. I know, what can you talk about that's coming out that you sure or something that you're working on that's coming out here shortly.
Oh, of course, me and Nums, got our third album on the way. It'll be out in a couple months. 3 years in a row. We got that one coming up. Um, I'm gonna be back in the lab with you again, of course. Me and Cash, we gonna do some more stuff like that. I may drop like another major album, a EP with just multiple people, not just the little minis. And the basement is always there, so people, it kind of became a thing last year, so it's not over. If somebody reach out and say they want to do a basement, it's always open. It's like a gangster grills or something. It's always there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was a artist that's looking to, I mean, you made a conceptual album and you just want to get some bars off and just kind of have no rules, no boundaries, and you made a conceptual
Mhm.
piece. the basement might be for you. You know what I mean? Because for me, that's how it was for me. I still put
Yeah,
songs on there, but it wasn't
yeah,
necessarily, stuff I had done on the album up until that point.
yeah,
So it was good.
and to be honest, man, not like boasting or bragging or nothing, but like I've dropped 10 basements last year, so I did 10. Every basement was usually like a follow up to somebody's album, and it was a nice little like lead up roll out for everybody. At least out of the 3 songs, at least one song like got a placement on somebody's playlist, some on every one that I've dropped. Out
That's
of
fire.
all 10 basements, at least 1 or 2 songs have made somebody's playlist and things like that, or it was you seen it retweeted and posted. So yeah, man, it's always at least 1 or 2 out of the 3, man, where it gets a little rotation.
Pretty much. Shout out to one of the Twitter brothers out there, Matt. He'll put his stuff out there all the time, but
Oh
I
yeah,
s- I see everybody on there. Some of them some of them have basement joints, or you have some work with them on there. So
yeah.
definitely putting people on in many different ways, man, many different ways. So yeah, that's dope, man. Before I let you go, man, before I let you go,
Hmm.
what is what album are you looking forward to this year, production wise, that is coming out? I know there's a Gangsta Grills coming out with Pusha T. There's
Hmm.
some more rumblings about possible. Think it was like Hit Boy. Who was it? Hit Boy and forget the artist here. It may be another
Oh yeah,
Nas.
somebody mentioned Hit Boy. I forgot who. Well, I know you're talking about. Somebody mentioned working with Hit Boy. Um,
Yeah, I forget
but
exactly
I don't even
who
know
it
what's
is.
crazy. I don't know if it's dropping this year, but I'm definitely looking forward to Benny's major debut with Def Jam. I want to hear that
Yeah,
because everybody dropped their major album, but him. They dropped all their Shady albums, but he signed a couple years ago, but he's yet to drop that major with Def Jam. So I definitely want to hear that.
yeah, for sure.
Conway supposed to drop next month.
Okay.
Conway supposed to drop in February, I believe. He's coming back, and of course, man, I'm always looking forward to Ransom. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's certain people, man. Like I'm always looking forward to seeing what they got coming up, man. So yeah, we gonna see, man. I think it's gonna be a nice year.
Yeah, that Benny pick is interesting because I was just had my man Hype over, and we were just talking a little bit about people dropping and who we looking forward to, and just Benny came up
Hmm.
randomly, and we're going back and forth, and the project that Benny dropped with Hit Boy, ironically, was one that he didn't like, I liked, but then the Tana Talk 3 he liked. I was like, I'm cool. I like Tana Talk 3, like, but I don't like it as much as I like the joint with Hit Boy. You know what I mean? And I like them for
You
different
know what?
reasons. You know what I mean?
Because it's crazy. You know what? Because people were so used to Griselda having that certain sound, that more dusty sound, that more underground sound, and that's what I kind of do too. Like I try to tell people, just because you are underground doesn't mean you have to sound underground. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to keep that in the basement sound. I grew up watching 106 in Park, UMV, Rap City, The Basement, MTV Raps, things like that. And so my mentality, even though I'm underground producing, I want to make something that I'm like, what would get, in our case, would be make it to a playlist. And so with Benny working with Hit Boy, it was kind of more of a more mainstream sound compared to what they're used to hearing him to. So a lot of people was like, but I get what he was doing because it got him attention. He got more notoriety off that album than almost anything else
Yeah. And he was saying the same
because
exact things. Same
saying the
exact thing.
same exact stuff. But you know what I'm saying, they wasn't used to hearing them on that. A lot of people are like, no, that's not the Griselda sound. But it's like, if you want to get that attention, sometimes you got to do certain things. Like I say, with us in the underground, a lot of times we feel like we got to stay. I got to keep that lo-fi sound. I got to keep that dusty sound. Yeah, you can, but you know what I'm saying. Also, man, you got to learn how to, what I'm saying, manipulate it into a point where like you can make it kind of sound more industry mainstream, but still keep that essence too. And that's what I do. Like the song with you on side A, Set the Tone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just a regular you know what I'm saying? It has more of a mainstream sound to it.
Yeah.
And that song has been on your song is on multiple playlists. It's like number 1 on the EP on Apple Music and everything.
Yeah. And I
You know what
think
I'm saying? So
yeah, I was gonna add on to that, and yeah,
mhm.
it does sound like it does sound a little bit more mainstream, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I haven't put out a whole lot of
No, it's not.
projects. But I do get bored with saying that being in the same mode. You know what I mean of instrumentation and the soul samples and all that. That's cool.
Hmm.
You know what I mean. That'll always be me to the core. Stuff that I gravitate to. But maybe it's two or three songs on a project as opposed to the whole project sounding that way.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because eventually you want to branch out to a broader audience. Hopefully, if you a rapper, you want to perform. Some people don't perform,
Yeah,
and
it's just,
to each their own. You
you
know what
you
I mean?
yeah, because like I mean, because like I said, even though I'm underground, I think industry wise, because if you saying you were walking into Capitol Records, Atlantic Records, Interscope, you come in with your certain album, even though we're underground, they're gonna ask us like, where's the radio hit? That's what they're looking for. Where's the video hit? You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have that, you don't have anything. They need that single. Where's the single? If you don't have that single, like you might as well go back to the studio. You know what I'm saying? So I always make sure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to side A, Numb's got the soulful track. Sincerely Daddy is more of like a soulful track. They're just spitting it. Echo got more of the boom bap underground, but you got that single. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
I figure I watched, I pay attention to other guys. You know what I'm saying? That people could talk about Ja Rule all they want to, could talk about Murder Inc. I studied Murder Inc. I studied Rockefeller. I studied the Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? You gotta watch that, man. Like Ja Rule was the single king.
And be
You know what I'm saying? You have
yo
to
man,
watch stuff like that.
I still
Because you
rock
could
with
talk
his
about like
records. I'm ashamed I fell for the trap back in the day. You know
me
what I
too.
mean? Because you go back and
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
them records, they had
We're older
records.
now.
They had records in Murder Inc. Man.
That's what I'm saying. He was the man, dude. Ja Rule had a 4 album run. People could take 50 came in and did his thing, but Ja Rule had a 4 album run before 50 even came. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, 50 came and did his thing, with Get Rich or Die Trying to Massacre and all that, but like, no. Ja Rule had a 4 album run, dude. He was the man. You know what I'm saying? Because and they knew how to make, like, you gotta eat. They knew how to make those hits. You know what I'm saying? My goal is to whoever I'm working with, like I said, to get you on a playlist, to get you retweeted, to get you posted or something like that. If I feel like I can't do that, I did something wrong as a producer. My goal is to get whoever the person is, some kind of notice for 1 or 2 weeks. I want your name to be posted. Oh, that Cash is dope, and da da da. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, okay, I'm doing my job. I feel like
Yeah.
if I don't get somebody notice off that EP or album, I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Right, and that's the goal. To like, especially like I'll say it happily. My goal is not to be just under known as underground because that to me has like a negative
Mm-mm.
connotation. Even though I wear it with a badge of
Yeah.
honor, you know what I mean. But I'm either gonna be consistent. I like a consistent sounding album, no matter who's producing it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I like a consistent sounding album, no matter whether it's a mainstream, quote
Right.
unquote, or underground. And I think you could win both ways. You know what I mean? But you can't do all things. Those are the type of albums I think
Hmm.
things go crazy where you try to get real. It's hard to do as much as people gave him shit for it. And I saw people more so Freddie Gibbs in particular last year. He had a bunch of different producers on the
Hmm.
project, took you in many different lanes, showed you he could do a whole lot of different rapping
Hmm.
on different beats. And it's people liked it from the boom bap heads to he got a lot more notoriety mainstream from this album. So there's ways to
Hmm.
do it. You know what I mean? You just gotta kind of have a great ear for production and trust your team.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta know that balance, man. Like with Conway and things like that. Like when he came out with God don't make mistakes. Even with From King to a God, he had like he had a song with Luda and them off La Machina with Scatterbrain. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
you have to find that balance, man. You can't keep doing that same sound. Like if you want to move, you want to progress, you got to change some things. Like
He
even
switched it
back in the
up.
day.
Yeah, he switched it
Uh,
up a little bit with that
yes.
that quick flow. I think Rand was just on Rap
Hmm.
Radar talking about how on Toxic Love, his latest joint, the Chaos joint, how on Toxic
Hmm.
Love he switched the flow up and he even, said people he
Yeah.
sees it on Twitter and he feels like he raps really well, which we both agree he does, but it's fun to see
Of
you
course.
do something a little bit different when we know that you could really rap. Like sometimes it's about the flow and the
Like,
bounce and all that stuff, you know?
yeah, like I tell people all the time, like I said, I study the golden era, the 90s, the 2000s, because I'm a nigga like this. Like, when certain rappers, whatever, when they kind of like started dwindling down, it was kind of like stagnant. You went after the hot producer. You know what I'm saying? When Pharrell was hot, everybody was going to him. When Timbo had his sound, everybody was going to him. When Swiss Beats had his sound, everybody was going to him. So I tell dudes all the time, man, like I said, when it comes to underground, we have these egos, man. Like I know there's a lot of guys who produce their own stuff and they rap. I mean, that's dope. That's dope. I give you much props for that. But sometimes you can't do it all. You know what I'm saying? I can't rap for nothing. And I admit that. I would never even try. You know what I'm saying? I got that sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got the sound. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real. I got the sound. So it's like, you know what? Sometimes you got to venture out. Like when Pharrell had that, when Snoop Dogg, when you know what I'm saying, drop it like it's hot. He went to Pharrell. Jay Z went to Pharrell. All the main guys we love, they went to certain people. He went to Timbo, Jigga what, Jigga who. He went there to Swiss Beats. Like you know, the guys they when that person has that sound, sometimes you have to venture out, even with the producers. I know, like okay, I got a song with I Am God. I have a couple songs and an EP with Cash. I have albums with Numbs. You know, I got songs and I got an album with Abel Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like I know, you know what I'm saying, who to reach out to, and then also I can go with the people that's coming up with the names, like on side B. So you have to find that balance, man.
For sure, for sure. You know, and again, if you
So it
ever
is
find
what
that
it
that
is.
one producer that you work well with, man, stick with them. You know what I mean? Stick with them because that
Yeah,
cohesive sound is definitely something that I cherish as well in terms of just when I'm listening to music.
definitely.
You know what I mean? But you know, just be careful when
It,
you
don't.
juggling multiple producers. You know what I mean? It can go bad
Yeah,
easy.
right, right. And I tell people, like I said, I'm gonna say it again, man. Don't be too proud, man, to reach out to somebody. But it's like you have to do it in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't come to the point where you feel like you may just because you've had quite a few songs out or your name is out there, you aren't better than that person. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what that person can bring. Like I said, Nums had a name way before me. I was a nobody, pretty much you could say, in the hip hop world. You know what I'm saying? But then I ended up becoming, he ended up discovering, bringing out Furious Styles. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who that person is that's trying to reach out to you or whatever. Just because our page don't look like nothing, don't mean they ain't coming with something.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely judge the book on based on what they put out, based on how they present, and then kind of go from there. I
Yeah,
take
listen to their work.
it's way more fun to do business and work with people that you actually know, you know what I mean, and not necessarily reach for a name,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, because it goes bad when you're reaching for a name. Like they could take your money and they'll give you the verse, but they're not even promoting it. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So how is you know how
Exactly.
it's not always helpful. It's not always helpful. Sometimes it helps. If the track is surefire, eventually it'll get back to them. Maybe they start promoting it, but you know, I'm just going off. You know, people I talk to within this
For sure.
podcast game and music, to where even when you do something with somebody that has a name, quote unquote name, it doesn't always reciprocate
Mhm.
in terms of you skyrocketing and meeting their fans. Like you got to do that multiple
Hmm.
times to reach other people's
Yeah,
fans.
like I told you here this day in 2020, I didn't even have a district kid, anything like that. But if you go on my page now, my Apple Music, Spotify, I have like 13 or 15 albums and singles on my pages, and it's all from underground artists. If you want to call them that, I don't even, you know what I'm saying? Just people from Twitter, Instagram, things like that. I went from having zero to like 15 projects. Now you have to do this on my page. You know what I'm saying? And everything I have on my page is linked to that artist. If you click on it, it'll take you to their page as well. You know, that's how I do it. But yeah, man, I went from having nothing like a year or two ago to now you have to scroll. You know what I mean? And it's not because I'm just trying to reach out to the people with the big names. I ain't just trying to submit to the industry guys. I'm looking. If you know what, if you can't find them, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find such and such from such and such, and we gonna make something dope. You know, and it's gonna be cold. And then after he gonna go from such and such to, oh, that's him. That's the you gonna know his name because I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if you don't know him. I know him.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, man. So salute to you for reaching back out and kind of being a man of your word with you know, other artists that are looking to kind of get back into music, don't necessarily have the biggest platform, but you seeking out talent. That's a road less traveled. Not a lot of people do that. They rock with who they rock with, and then it's all through connections, and I respect that as well, man. Furious, before I let you up out of here, man, you got any last things you want to get off in terms of stuff that you got out, you want to promote? Is your goal, man? Promote your social media and where they can find you once again.
Oh, for sure, man. I definitely appreciate you as always, man. I thank you for having me on tonight. Oh, and you're not gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. We FaceTime earlier, y'all, and I slipped on the ice, and I didn't drop my phone. I held I held that mug like a wide receiver, man. I ain't drop it, man. But shout out to Cash for not busting me out. I'm gonna bust myself out, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But
man.
no, man. Thanks for having me on, man. Thanks for everybody that's everybody that when I reach out to them, man, about doing something that people, I don't always get yeses. I'm gonna keep it real. Sometimes people have things going on. Everybody that helped me out with my albums and EPs, I appreciate everybody. Side B's coming out very soon within the week, man. Shout out to those dope MCs, and I can't wait to see what I'm gonna come up next. I don't even know what I'm doing next, but I'm making beats for it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Busy man. 10 EPs last year in terms of the basement. Maybe two albums. I'm losing count. He had another
Mhm.
EP. We had him on a couple episodes ago with Backwards, Sweetie. He's busy, man. He's busy, but he make it look easy,
Mhm.
man, because he doing what he loves. So salute to you, man. And I'm definitely, I don't know what's in store for us this
Thank
year, but we got more work coming as well, man. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this
I'm
episode.
I'm working on some stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. All right. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm busy. I'm busy, but
Yeah,
not that busy. Heavy for
yeah,
Furious Style beat for
I
sure,
got you.
man. So this is episode 193, Furious Styles. Go check out Rhymes and Beats R&B side A right now. It's out right now. Check that out. Go check out side B when that drops February 6th. Go check out Noise in the Hood Volume 1. Go check out He and Numbs' project. I mean, it's a lot of different projects that he has out that I'm sure he could name. But if you go look up Furious Styles, you'll see him in that jacket right there, on any his SoundCloud, social media. I mean, not social media, but Spotify, Apple Music, Title. You'll see the picture pop up.
Hmm.
That's his music, and he has a long list of people he's worked with. So go check that out. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe this, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is episode 193. We out.